So, okay, we are recording, and it is Monday night, July 8th. And I'm Ellen Graham. I'm one of your national marketing directors. We've got so many great people from our team here tonight. I'm going to share my screen. I just did a little PowerPoint because I sure do like to have, well, I don't know where it went now. I sure do like to have some visuals to go along with what we're going to talk about tonight and leave these imprints on your brain. I think this is a really, really fun topic. And I think it's something that, you know, people get going with their Juice Plus journey. And, you know, you get excited and you get some vision for yourself and you're going, well, how do I do this? What's the secret sauce? What's the thing that makes, you know, that makes things really start to duplicate, makes the impact bigger and bigger? Well, last week we talked so much about painting possibility, and we really had an open conversation. And I think tonight is the same topic, really. Keys to casting vision is what I call it. But I think casting vision is sort of the intangible skill here that we want to use to build our mission and to build our businesses, our paychecks, the whole thing, whatever you're here to do. Vision is key. Think back to what really made you say yes. Maybe it was just a tiny bit of vision about, you know, some money you could make, the resource that you could be to another human being. So think about some of those things. And we're going to talk tonight, how do you specifically talk to others about vision? And it's really about talking and walking with people from here to there. I'm going to give a lot of examples because I'm a metaphor person, but I want to simplify this and I want to make it something that gets you excited to be inviting for events and inviting people onto your teams, because a lot of us are bringing in new team members and it's so much fun. And you know what's fun about it? It's fun because we see their vision and we see if they stay engaged, we see their vision grow, and it is the most contagious, exciting thing that we can be part of. So let's kind of go here to the next page. So vision is the story that you tell about the future, right? So think about this. One of the key ingredients that we utilize in sharing Juice Plus is our personal story, whether it's your product story, your business story, or more than likely you're using a combination story when you talk to people. Well, think of how powerful that story is. We know that facts tell, but stories sell, right, guys? So vision is the story that you tell about the future. And you want to become confident and you want to become adept at telling a story about the future and what it could be like for someone that joins your team. What could it be like for that team member that finished their 2000 plus? And what is that next step and what could it be like? That's all that we're really doing. And if you think about it, think about some of the conversations that you've had in your life, some of the mentors, the influences. Think back to maybe high school or college, a great coach, a great teacher that you had. Those people more than likely spoke vision into your life. And something that we do here is that we cast vision for other people because we know the possibilities. Now, we never want to oversell or over-exaggerate or tell people it's easy or BS them, just to be frank, or anything like that. What we want to do is we want to cast vision about what is possible for them. All right. And so think about it when you're talking with someone who is either looking at starting a product, joining your team, or they're already maybe taking the product and looking at joining your team, or they've joined your team, they've done some things, and we always want to be having these logical next step conversations, okay? So even if, as a national marketing director, my upline casts vision with me by saying, okay, here's where you are, and here's where you could be, and this is what the activity would look like to get you there. Okay, so think about the logical next target, not just for yourself, but for your team members. Because what you're going to start to do is you're going to start to show them, you know, going from point A to point B, right? What does that target feel like and do for your team member? All right. So let's say, here's a great example. The new bonuses just came out for the marketing plan. Wow, I think it's a $10,000 bonus to make national marketing director, right, guys? And it's about $5,000 to make QNMD, $2,500 to make SSC. So what did I do? I called my sales coordinators on my team, and I said, you know, what you doing with your Juice Plus? Because let me share with you where you are. You're a sales coordinator. You could, you know, you could add this much team and promote to senior sales coordinator, and there would be a $2,500 bonus. You could continue in that activity, go to qualifying national marketing director, get another $5,000 bonus. Remember, your commission, your monthly commission check is growing as you're doing this. And then to NMD, which once you've gotten to Q, once you're starting to really duplicate and add those sales coordinators, you go to national marketing director, and there's a $10,000 bonus. So tell me, what would $17,500 in bonuses, not even counting what your commission check looks like monthly, what would that do for you? Some people got some goosebumps. They got excited, and they got, what did they get? What's the magic word? Vision. You guys, they got vision. They got vision for, okay, what would it feel like if the school tuition was paid? What would it feel like to take that dream vacation? What would it feel like to pay off that stupid visa bill that's hanging over my head? What would it feel like to pay off those student loans that are hanging over my head every month? And to have that extra money in my pocket instead of making that payment. So we want to have those conversations. Well, tell me what that's like. You know, tell me, you know, how much do you want that? What are you willing to do that? Okay, so this is where I'm asking some hard questions about, well, yeah, $17,000 sounds great, right? Raise your hand if that doesn't sound great. But what are you willing to do it? And you guys, it's really important that you stop here and think about something. It doesn't matter where you are in the marketing plan. Doesn't matter if you started yesterday. Doesn't matter if you've been a VF for 10 years. It doesn't matter. You can cast vision for anyone to go anywhere. No one else is ever held back by your own personal journey or your vision for yourself, because that may not be what you want. You may not be sitting here saying, well, I don't want to be a national marketing director, but I sure love having my qualified business, and you know, I love the impact that I'm making in my community, and that's cool. But think about that team member who is indicating to you that maybe they're looking for something a little bit bigger. So you can still cast that vision for them, and you go straight into from what to how. What is it? It's, let's say, for example, senior sales coordinator is the next step. Well, how do we do it? Well, let's talk about that. You know, let's pull up your organizational chart. Oh my gosh, you know, this is awesome. You have a sales coordinator line. It looks like you have a couple of VFs that are inactive. It looks like you have a lot of dealers and DDs on your team. Let's talk about, you know, spending the next couple months going out and finding 10 new frontline people so that we build you that structure over the next couple of months, 6 months, 12 months, so that you promote to senior sales coordinator. Let's talk about consistent events. Let's talk about getting into people's living rooms. What are you doing when you're in somebody's living room with a brand new distributor and you're teaching them the gift of health, you guys? You're just casting vision, okay? And you're teaching them exactly how to do it, and it should duplicate. So it is from what to how. Now, I'm not going to get to, you know, from SC to senior sales coordinator without doing the work. I'm not going to get there in the next month, but if I'll commit to the activity and, you know, stay in the game and roll with, you know, all the punches, the ups and the downs that are going to come with this, then I'm going to get there and I'm going to get that $2,500 bonus. And you know what? When I get to senior sales coordinator, my vision's going to explode, because I'm going to have achieved something I've never achieved before. I'm going to have made an impact I haven't yet created. And when we do that activity, it does something to our imaginations, where your imagination just gets bigger and bigger, right? You know, we can usually imagine about double of where we are. So you don't want to talk to a team member who's making $100 a month and start talking to them about, you know, making $10,000 a month as an NMD. You want to talk to them about making 200, 250 a month because they can imagine about double where they are. Okay, so think about that from your own perspective and how you're talking to people. The third piece is we want to go from story to action. Okay, our vision is the story that we're telling ourselves about the future. It has to be grounded in action. Okay, now sometimes what happens is people get some vision and then they get some anxiety. Can I do it? Am I good enough? Am I smart enough? Am I, do I know enough? Blah, 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 all the excuses that we tell ourselves, right? Well, here's the secret, and I want you to speak this into your team members' lives. Action is the antidote to anxiety. The best thing to do is just go to the gym. Not plan it, think about it, talk about it. Just go do what you're going to do. Just go start the savings account and put $10 in. Quit thinking about it, right? So we want to take people from the story of their vision to action. Now, this is a really important indicator of where your team member is on their journey. If they won't get into action, if they won't go talk to people and have an event, that's where we are free to say, you know what, let me know when you're ready. And we move on. That's the healthy thing to do, because we have zero power over what anybody else does. And I always tell my team, you have no control over, how the depth in your organization grows and how it duplicates. The only thing you can control is your front line, because those are the people you're talking to. And the more people you talk to, the more people you're going to bring on. So we got to go from story to action. So for example, if my vision is to double my business over the course of the next year, then I've got to get right into action, okay? I got to go from that exciting story into my head, and I'm always keeping it there, and I'm always focusing on it and thinking about it. But it's also the why of every step of action that I take, okay? And then we remember, when people are not ready to step into action, that's our cue to step back, because we cannot do it for them. We can't rescue anybody or anything like that. We step back and we go to work with those team members that are ready to work. And then, life happens and people go through shifts, and we've all been through those shifts of activity, inactivity, things like that. So what's great about our Juice Plus business is it's very graceful and forgiving for us wherever we are in that journey. So you're a blessing whether you do a little bit or a lot. Okay, guys, let's see if I can pull up the next page. Okay, I want to just talk for a second. I put up a picture of the compensation plan, and I think it's really great to show people the visual fast tracks, the visual compensation plan. You don't need to know every nuance of how it works. You don't need to explain every little thing. And be careful that you don't. It's very easy to overwhelm people with information. But the question is, what does your team member need to know to achieve their vision? If my team member is here at the 6% commission level and they've got 35 days left to fast track, my job as a sponsor is to communicate to them exactly what they need to do to get there and what that looks like, and ask them, what are you doing to get there? Not with any pressure, but I'm going to find out, are they going to the next level? Are they booking another event? Are they putting me on some three-way calls? And maybe they need a little help with that. Maybe they need a little help with, like, oh my gosh, well, I got my 500 points. How do I get my 2,000? Well, you do the exact same thing you did to get your 500 points. Or you get in someone else's living room this time. You go get a team member and get in their living room, and you're casting vision about how people can have better health, and you're going to that next level. The same activities that got you 500 points will get you 2,000. The same activities that got you 500 points will express track you to sales coordinator. It's just repetition of that. And sometimes I think it's important to explain that repetition of activity piece to people, because once they get that in their vision, that it's like, oh, this isn't just a one-time thing, this is an over and over. If they really want it, they will get in that mode and consistently go after it. If there are whatever things holding them back, they'll stop, and they can be someone that you check in with, every 6 to 12 months. And so think about, too, what questions can you ask to understand your team member's vision? And I want to actually unmute this. Let me see if I can. What are some, well, tell you what, you guys unmute yourselves because I'm struggling here. Oh, I got it. What are some questions you'd like to ask people to kind of understand what their vision is? Any suggestions? Oh, I'm having a horrible time. Okay. Anybody?
I mean, Ellen, for me, I think that's something I have a hard time casting my own vision. So then it makes it hard for me to cast vision for others.
Okay.
I don't think it's clear in my head. And you know, you talk about, you know, like, do you have a team member that maybe isn't sure where they're going, or, you know, doesn't have that vision piece yet? I feel like that's a little bit me. So if I feel like if I don't have that vision, it's hard for me to cast it.
That's such a great question. Well, two things. The number one reason we all need to be going to events and always inviting our people to events, even if it seems redundant, hopeless, or ridiculous that you're inviting them, it's not, because you never know when a team member is going to catch vision at an event, okay? So that's the first thing. Most of us got our vision at a boot camp or a conference, or something happened in our business along the journey. And for, you know, someone like me who's been around a long time, it was multiple instances of events that cast vision for me. I sat at the Phoenix conference spring 2008. I had just spent a month with my dad in the hospital. He was dying of cancer rather unexpectedly. I hadn't even touched my business. I know Reagan called my customers and took care of them. My mom called me and she said, you know, my mom had been in a network marketing company. She said, you know, I know the most important thing is you don't quit. Let's go to Phoenix. So my mom took me to Phoenix, and I couldn't even pay attention to conference, you guys. I was really grieving. You know, I was still crying in the shower every day. All I remember about this conference is Deanna Christopherson closing it. And I don't even remember what she said, but something about draw a line in the sand. And my line in the sand that day was don't quit. That's all it was. So Jen, I think sometimes with vision, we think it's this big, grandiose fantasy of, you know, being like Sean and Jennifer Myers and sailing around the world. That's not what it is, you guys. Vision is the next step. So Jen, think about if somebody comes into your dental practice because they know you're a terrific dentist, and let's say that they've got a significant amount of dental work that needs to be done, and it's a multiple step process. It's really not any different here. You're going to lay out the best steps for that patient and take them through the process and make the appointments and do the work for their dental health. And it's not that much different here. You know, it might be saying, okay, I commit to one event a month at my house, and I'm going to shoot for one event a month at a new team member's house. Okay. And I'm going to need to hold myself to enough activity that I make that happen. Right. So, so that's a really, really good question. And I think sometimes what happens, you know, you go to conference and you hear the really big, huge stories, and those do give us vision. But what we want to become really adept at is, how do you scale that down, you know, to me and to my life? How does that apply to my life? When I'm a brand new distributor, I'm just like a brand new, let's say I'm an art sculptor. I am not going to go try and do what Michelangelo did, but I'm going to start chipping and sculpting and trying my way and making something, okay? Who else has a question about that? Because that's great. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Okay, let's talk a little bit deeper from what to how. Okay, so this really, really simplifies how you can work with a team member and say, okay, you want to go from A to B, correct? Like you're telling me you're pretty darn excited about, you got your 500 points, You want your 2,000 points. You'd love to get another $300 bonus and a free conference ticket. Come to Austin with us. And I know they're saying, hey, it seems a little bit daunting, but if you're telling me it's the same activity, well, what are we going to do? We're going to focus on invitations. We're going to focus on conversations and three-way calls, and we're going to focus on events. Okay? And those create the desired results. The more of those that you do, the closer you get to the desired results. Now, if someone says to me, this is a really important nuance. If someone says to me, well, I want to be an NMD by the end of the year. Great. Tell me, how many people are you willing to talk to? How many hours a day can you put into this? Well, I'm going to talk to 3 people a week, and I can do this an hour a week. Well, I'm sorry, you're not going to be a national marketing director by the end of the year, but you know what? You could be a VF, and that's pretty awesome too. So we want to help people kind of understand and guide their vision, right? We don't want to shoot anybody down. We don't want to over exaggerate, but we don't want to shoot anybody down and say you can't do that. But we want to show them how activity creates desired results. If I'm going to get customers, I have to, have conversations and invite people to those conversations, whether they're three-way calls or events. If I'm going to build a team, I'm going to have to invite people to conversations, three-way calls, and events. Social media will not build your Juice Plus business. This is so important to say. Social media will not build your Juice Plus business, but it will open doors for you to initiate a conversation. Social media can cast vision, but you got to remember, people feel saturated. They feel like they're being sold everything on social media. But if you can be that bright light that's like, hey, and I got to post something tonight, like, hey, you know what? I really had fun. I kind of tuned out of real life for 3 days, and I got to go travel, and I have the time freedom to do that. And you know what? I was excited to come back to my life because I love what I do. That's how we can cast some vision online, but that vision will go nowhere unless you have conversations with people and ask them to make the next step, okay? This is really all about what is that next step. What do you guys think about that?
I feel like that's a very simple plan. And I kind of feel like I know enough people already to get to the next step. And I think it's just a matter of getting over my own trepidations of talking to them and feeling like I'm making a fool out of myself. But I'm willing to do that because I know that, where I want to go, and I'd like to take a lot of these people with me too. So doing the invitation and having the conversations, the three-way calls I'm not so good at yet, but I'm sure I will get better. And really the key for me right now is scheduling events. I feel like I have a really busy life and I'm not sure where to fit those events in. So I feel like those are like you said, those are the really important things. And I feel like I'm on track to do that, but I'm trying to figure out how to fit that into running 2 businesses and raising 2 boys, and how do I make all that fit together?
Okay, this is gold, you guys. Will you play with me here, Beth?
Sure.
So I'm gonna speak with you as if I am the person, your upline who I'm gonna cast vision right now. Okay. Because what you just told me is everybody's story. I'm busy, I don't know how to make it work, I got a jillion things going on. Okay, first things first, anybody that you want on your team, I hope they're like that. I hope they're busy and they have a life. Okay, so here's the thing, Beth. Where are you right now in the marketing plan?
2,000 plus.
Awesome, right? And we've had so much fun celebrating that and hearing about your journey. How did that feel when you achieved that?
Amazing. It was amazing.
Right.
I think that might be the funnest thing I've done ever.
That's so cool. That is so cool. Most fun you've ever had. So what do you think it would be like to Express Track Sales Coordinator?
I envision it and I can picture it and I'm really excited about it.
Okay. Beth, do you know how many trio orders it is to do the Express Track by the end of next month?
No.
Do you know it's only 25 trio orders?
Total with the ones I already have?
Yes. How many of you already put in between you and your team members?
I think I'm around 12, 10.
So you're saying you're halfway there.
Yes, Reagan.
Wow.
Okay, this is so fun. Reagan's not here, so this is so fun. Okay, so Beth, this is what I'm thinking. We've done some conversations, some events. Whose living room could you get in the next 3 or 4 weeks that you'd love to have on your team?
That is a good question.
Well, let's think of 3 people and let's invite them. Because think of how fun it would be to help them get those 12 trio orders. Think of how amazing they would feel.
Yeah, that's very true. It was really fun.
It's really fun. And so if you can go to speak to people and say, hey, I just had an amazing time doing this. You want to come check it out? You could do it too. Don't make it about yourself. Don't make it about your express track. Just go talk to people like that. You're contagious. They might catch the Juice Plus disease. Okay? So that's really all that we're doing is we're showing people the next logical step. It's everything. You guys, this is everything that we do in our lives. Oh, I want to go back to that because it's kind of a fun visual. It's everything that we do in our lives. I'll tell you an area where I struggle with vision, and that is landscaping my teeny tiny yard, my I don't know, 10 square feet of land that I own here in Stapleton. And my neighbor is a landscape designer, and he has the most beautiful yard. And so we've talked about some things. And what I had to do was really take that picture, draw it out, break it down, and say, okay, Ellen, it's one plant at a time. You just focus on the first step. The first step was cutting down a tree, okay? And this, you guys will love this story. This is just Max cut the tree down. Every once in a while, Max is like, my mom needs help. I'm taking care of this. I went out in the front yard and heard all the neighbor kids cheering, and Max had cut down a tree that was 2 stories high. I couldn't even believe it, okay? So it brings me back to a lot of this is simple. It's just taking it one thing at a time. One event leads to another. One 3-way call leads to another. One conversation leads to another, okay? Sometimes what happens is our vision is stunted by thinking as that event was a one-time thing, now it's over, whatever, but it's not. It's got to be like with this whole mission, one thing leads to another, right? So it's just showing people that next step. And then when they're willing to do that activity, that's when we lock arms with them and we run with them. When they're like holding back and they've got a lot of excuses. So Beth, for example, if you were my distributor and you were saying, well, I just can't figure it out. I can't. Nobody would ever want to join my team. I would never have an event because, you know, I don't like the color of my walls in my living room or whatever your excuse is. If you kept telling me that over and over, I would believe you and say, you know what, Beth? We're so glad you're on our team. Why don't you just, you know, let me know if you change your mind down the road and you feel like things open up. Okay, because I am not going to buy into someone's belief or vision in their own life that is mediocre, because people can do anything, and here they can do anything. It doesn't matter where you came from, your education level, doesn't matter anything but the fact that if you have some above average desire, you can go make it happen, right? But you have to do the work. And you've got to be somewhat coachable. You got to listen to your upline who's saying, you know what? Hey, go get in some people's living rooms. Even if it like scares you so much, you feel like you might pee your pants, go do it. You know how exhilarating it was getting that 2,000 plus? Wait till you do that first event in somebody's living room. That's exhilarating, okay? Because you're making an impact unlike any you've ever made before. And that's what this mission is all about. We all got here because somebody stepped out and invited us. So we really want to come back to that, you know, creating those desired results. We've identified the next step in our mind. And remember, it's not a huge step, it's a baby step. You know, whether it's a paycheck goal or a marketing plan goal, or, you know, I want 5 new customers this month goal. It's just backing up those steps into the smaller steps and going and do that. You know, make your little checklist and check it off. Brian Rose, who is somebody I've loved working with in the Juice Plus company, he put Post-it notes all over their wall. And when they were really ramping up to NMD, and I mean, anytime, you know, he had, I don't know how many of them up, but it was like anytime they got a new customer, a name went on that Post-it note, a name of somebody that mattered, a name of somebody that was impacted by Juice Plus. And their goal was to fill those Post-it notes with names. So we're doing the 100 squares, right? It's the same thing, you guys. It's just breaking up that vision into the logical next steps. It's not any bigger deal than that. Now, when you get, you always want to have an even bigger vision for your life. That's fine. But you've got to get really adept at breaking it down into the next steps. That's what I'm trying to say. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's 7 o'clock. I should probably be quiet now. I'm going to stop this share, and I am going to, I think Reagan usually turns off the recording. I'm going to leave it on because she'll watch this later. What questions, comments, what did you love? What should I do better? What did you guys get tonight?
Great. Ellen, you were fantastic. I love this Zoom. It was really, really impactful. I have always kind of cast a vision for us, Bobby and me meeting, in such a large scale that sometimes it frightened me. Instead of chunking it up like you talked about, what's the next step? So I didn't have one step, I had 100 steps. You know, what do I got to do tomorrow? 100 things, you know, and it always made it so overwhelming that I don't think I could ever get out of my own way. And I think what you just shared here tonight was outstanding. What do you think, Bobby?
I think you did an absolute perfect job.
Yeah, fantastic.
Thanks. Well, think about it this way, guys. You don't graduate from high school by showing up and taking the finals when you're in diapers. You graduate from high school by going to kindergarten and learning to share and sit in a circle and not pick your neighbor's nose. And then you take summer off and you come back and you go to first grade and you're still learning to share and not hit your neighbor and pick their nose. And we evolve, right? We evolve all the way up. And then one day our parents are crying because we graduated from high school. That journey happens in chunks, okay? So simplify it for yourselves, because our marketing plan is actually pretty cool. And some of the changes that we're going to be experiencing are going to make it even easier to chunk it up. So we're going to have some fun, okay?
And I'll second what Bobby and Patty said as
Yes.
well, because I think that a vision is such a big word, you know, and I think we all just put vision out there as a big, like, huge, monstrous thing, and it can be, but like you said, you have to kind of, we always talk about meet people where they are, but I mean, that's part of vision. And I think sometimes we separate, like, giving people goals to where they are from vision, because it can be one and the same. Vision doesn't always have to be huge. So that was awesome.
I would agree as well. And you know what I love about these calls is this one that you did tonight, and then the one you did about the express track. I'm keeping these so I can share them with my new team members, because I think they're just such great training tools to get everybody started right off the bat, told in a way that I could never do. You know, it's just like it's so perfect. So thank you so much for doing this. You knocked it out of the park. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. And I just want to say, I just spoke with one of my cousins, twice removed or something. You know, I told him, I said, I can't help the people that you know without you. And I learned that from you guys, and it's really true. And so for myself, casting vision, sorry, there's a dog hauling next door. Casting vision for him to think about me being able to help someone else that he knows. And he was like, yeah, I would love to talk to you about this tomorrow. So that was kind of cool.
Cool.
Sorry, that was loud.
Cool. Well, even just a few things, like, you know, I've called some gals this summer and just said, hey, you know, I got a lot of people excited to make an extra $1,400 in bonus money this summer. Is that something that you or anybody you know would be thinking about? Right there, I casted a vision. You know, I just put $1,400 in their mental piggy bank. And so they're either going ching ching or they're like, yeah, not right now, whatever.
Nice job, Ellen.
Oh, this is fun, you guys. Well, Jim and Missy, where are you guys tonight? You look like you're on the road.
We're in Denver.
Oh,
I might
come over.
I might have to come. Is it the 16th that you're doing a deal at? Didn't you post
Yes.
something the 16th?
Yes, you guys, if you're in Denver on the 16th, we're doing a Freedom Revolution here in Stapleton. It's going to be at Chaluna Brewery, which is inside Stanley Marketplace. So almost all you guys are local or you're close enough you could come. But bring people. We're gonna have fun.
We might have to have a wine some night. Sorry, everyone.
Yeah, that'd be great.
You
I'm
go.
glad you told me you're in town. That would be great. Okay, guys. Well, we'll wrap it up for the night. And thanks so much for being here.